Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to the Better Man Podcast. Today's episode is a solo episode, and I'm going to talk about why motivation isn't actually important, why it should not be a factor in whether or not you commit to a workout program or eating a new healthy diet or whatever it is. But I'm also going to talk about some facts that you should know about motivation and how you should let those understandings help you to drive whether or not you do something or just help you feel better about yourself. And then at the end of that, I'm going to give you guys some strategies to overcoming a lack of motivation. All right. There's a big misconception that doing your workouts is all about motivation. You need to watch a video to psych you up before you do your workout, or everybody who works out at the gym is really excited about their workouts, and you're the only person who's not excited about doing the workout. And that's just not true. It's not true at all. Most people are not going to be excited for every workout that they do. Sure, you're going to have some workouts that you do feel excited, that you are looking forward to, but there are also going to be a lot of workouts, maybe even most of your workouts, that you actually don't look forward to doing. And that's actually really normal because our body wants to conserve energy. So you're trying to get your body to do something that it knows is going to take up a lot of energy that biologically, historically speaking, would be needed for something more important, like saving your life. But here you are using it up on an unnecessary energy expense. So it's absolutely normal for your body, your brain to resist doing a workout because you want to conserve energy, right? So it's very normal that you're not going to feel up to doing a workout. So understand that there's nothing wrong with you. That's actually how humans are. There are a lot of people who do have high level motivation to work out, or maybe you see them just doing their workouts consistently. But I think most people are going to be more excited about the results of their workouts than they are about the workouts themselves. And if you are looking at someone who is very disciplined and does their workouts consistently, they probably have days where they're not feeling excited about their workouts. But the reason that they do them is because they have seen the results of those workouts. Either they see them, if it's something like man flow yoga, then they would see the results immediately after they finish the workout. They know that their body feels better throughout the day when they do it. They know that they have less stress. They know that it's helping them somehow. They recognize the benefits. They can experience them. And if you've done doing something like strength training for a while, if you stuck with it for a few months, then you would have realized, oh, wow, this is working. My muscles are getting bigger. I'm losing fat. I feel stronger. So the people who are more motivated for their workouts or just have higher discipline or have been more consistent, it's because they've seen results. It's because they know that even though it's uncomfortable to go through a workout, especially a challenging one, that it's worth it, that it's going to do something for them. I think that's also important to note. So if you haven't had success with your workout programs in the past, if they've made you feel bad, if you haven't noticed the results of them, if they made you feel bad, both physically in the sense that after the workout you felt sore and your body hurt, or mentally in the sense that you felt discouraged and demotivated and kind of ashamed at yourself if you weren't able to follow the program, then those are all reasons why you might not feel excited about a workout program. So if you can be consistent with it for a few weeks and show to yourself, hey, I can do this, and oh, this is doing something for me, then that's going to help flip the script. That's going to help flip the script for you. And now you'll be drawing from an experience and from kind of this memory of, oh, this does do something for me, instead of workouts are just something that make me feel bad because I don't do them consistently. I think those are really important things to understand. Now, fundamental to my understanding of motivation, I do a lot of reading on this. There have been 3 books in particular that I read. I've done The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. I have it right here. There's also Atomic Habits by James Clear. That's a really, really popular one. But my favorite one actually is Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg. And the reason for that is because BJ Fogg is a behavior scientist. He is the author of Tiny Habits. He's a Stanford University professor, and he's the founder of the Stanford Design Lab. And what I like about his book and what I like about his content is that they're all based on data. They're all based on the experiments that he's done in decades of research. So the stuff that he puts out is there's a lot of stuff that goes out from other that's really helpful, that makes a lot of sense, that can be very applicable, that makes a lot of sense, I would say is like the most. But what I really like about BJ's is that it's proven. This isn't just stuff that makes sense. It's also stuff that's proven to work. So fundamental to BJ's understanding and my understanding of behavior science is that action is determined by the intersection of prompt, motivation, and ability. So prompt being, is there something in the environment, or is there something that prompts you to do the behavior at the desired time? That could be an alarm setting on your phone. That could be something that you see. It could be like seeing a yoga mat in your living room. It could be somebody else calling you and saying, hey, it's time to go to our workout. That's a prompt. Ability is your ability to do the workout. He breaks it down into a few different chains of ability. It could be financial ability, it could be physical ability, it could be knowledge. So there's a lot of different things that go into ability. But the point is that ability is part of this. And then the third part of it is motivation. So motivation here is only it's only one part of determining whether or not an action takes place. And motivation is the most unreliable of these. Motivation goes up and down. Motivation can be dependent on how much you slept the night before. It could be based on how much stress you've had that day. It could be based on soreness, or what you did the day before. So there are tons of things that go into motivation. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't, and you can't rely on it. So when we rely on motivation, you're probably going to set yourself up for failure. Guys, I hope you're enjoying this solo podcast. Really quick here, I want to give a shout out to our featured brand this week. This is Bird Dog. I have had a pair of these shorts for 10 years now, and I am still wearing them. They are the most comfortable built-in liner that I have ever worn. I can wear these things for anything that I do, whether I am playing lacrosse, doing yoga, lifting weights, going for a walk. I've worn these out when I was younger and going out all day. They can stand up to the hot Texas summer, no problem, and I'll still feel comfortable even after wearing them for hours and hours and hours. So I'm really excited that we've partnered with Bird Dog. They're going to give you a free tumbler if you purchase a pair of their shorts using the link in our show notes on their website, birddogs.com. So click that link in the show notes when this episode is done. Get yourself a pair of Bird Dogs. I guarantee you're going to be happy with them. All right, guys, let's get back to the episode. It's very true that we can force ourselves to do something for a few days, maybe a couple weeks, but we can't force ourselves to do something long term. I also want you to recognize that when you are attempting to do a new behavior, when you're trying to, stick with a workout program, and especially if it's not dialed into a habit yet, something that you consistently do, the energy that is available to do this new behavior, you have to consider all of the existing things that you're doing. So if you have your job, you have your relationships, you have all the other responsibilities that you have, now on top of all those things, you're also trying to do a new workout program. So it makes sense that it's going to be really difficult because most of us are already living a difficult life. Most of us already have too many obligations. We already have too much stress on ourselves. And so adding one more thing on top of that is really hard to do. So I say that because I want you to be a little, give yourself a little grace in the situation. I mean, the idea that we should all be incredibly financially successful, that we should be perfect, perfect family members, that we should be perfect involved, friends in our community, that we should be able to eat a healthy dinner every meal, work out every day, and then go to sleep, have a great night of sleep, and just be amazing all the time is just unrealistic, right? So give yourself some grace here and understand that it's really difficult to do something new, especially if you're forcing yourself to do it. So that's a few things about motivation. Now I'm going to give you hopefully some tips on some information on motivation that can help you hack it, so to speak, to your advantage. So, um, first thing I want you to understand is the motivation wave. So when you start something new, your motivation is higher. So if we think about that intersection of when behavior occurs, if we look at prompt, ability, and motivation, motivation is going to go down over time. So what we should do is when our motivation is high is to reinforce those other areas so that when motivation is lower, we have more likelihood of doing the behavior. So when your motivation is high, you can do things like set up a prompt for you to do that behavior. That could be adding workouts to your calendar. That could be buying all the things that you need. That could be signing up for an annual membership. So you are committing yourself to an annual membership instead of doing something month to month. You can also learn how to do something. So if it's something like learning how to put the app onto your TV, or if it's learning how to do a particular pose, maybe watching some tutorials, gaining some confidence in yourself. So when your motivation is high, you want to increase your ability. You also want to create prompts for yourself. So that's something that I found to be a really profound and incredibly useful insight, because it's recognizing that motivation is going to go down, but harnessing that motivation when it is high, so that when the motivation does go down, you have systems in place that make it so you don't require as much motivation. So use that motivation when it's high to increase the ability and to create a prompt. You should also recognize that motivation tends to be higher at the beginning of a time period. So when you start a new year, for example, that's when motivation is going to be high. When you start a new season, motivation is going to be high. A new month, a new week, this is when motivation is going to be higher. So at the beginning of a month, on a Monday, the beginning of the week, you're going to have slightly higher motivation than other times of the day. There's just something about new and untainted that our brains like. So if you're trying to motivate yourself to do something, try to start it on a new time period. That's going to help out a little bit. Something else to understand about motivation is that motivation tends to go down throughout the day. You'll have ups and downs, but there are particular times of the day where you'll have lower energy, particularly in the early afternoon. It depends on you. Some people get tired around 12, some people get tired around 4 p.m. So I know for me, if I can do my workout starting at about 3:30 or 4, then I'll be able to finish in time for the evening, so I can be present and take care of my kids and make dinner and that kind of stuff. But I also know that while 2 would be a great time to work out, I'm not going to, because I just don't have that energy at 2 p.m. I'm just not feeling it. So when you're thinking about when you're going to do something, you do want to try and plan that behavior in accordance to your fluctuating motivation levels throughout the day. So if you know that you have really high motivation in the beginning of the day, most people do, that's a great time to do your workout. That's why you hear people say over and over that that morning is the best time of day to do exercise. There's a lot of reasons for that, and that's not a blanket statement. Some people really do enjoy working out in the evening, myself included. I do my weight training in the evening because that's how I've always done it, and I do my yoga and my kind of less intense stuff in the morning because that just works for me. But there definitely is something to doing your workouts in the morning, because the stress of the day just hasn't happened yet. There's less happening. Your motivation is higher. So be aware your motivation levels fluctuate throughout the day, and that's kind of up to you to figure out when is your motivation level at its highest and to plan something for that time if you struggle with doing it consistently. I mentioned this before, but you're not going to be able to do something that you don't want to do for an extended period of time. So if you've been doing something for a couple of weeks and it's not getting easier, you don't feel motivated to do it, it is a good idea to look at, how can I make this easier? Or can I change this activity entirely? Should I do it at a different time of day? So don't just, I know this whole thing is about why motivation is important, but motivation can be a good indicator. So if you have consistently low motivation to do something, then it could be a good idea to go back and try and come up with a new plan. How can you make it so that it requires less motivation? How can you make it seem more exciting to do? Or how can you make yourself, more excited to do it or feel better about doing it? If all you feel is dread about what you're doing, then it's a good sign that you should probably figure out a different plan. Um, and if you're trying, again, if you are trying to do something new, consider that you're doing this on top of all the existing things in your life that you're already doing. So give yourself some grace in this situation. All right, I want to finish this off with a few quick strategies. So, what you can do when you're lacking motivation but need to do it. So, for me, this is what I personally do. One really good strategy is to do just slightly more than you feel like doing. So I'll give you an example in my own life. So I work out. I do my resistance training 3 to 4 times per week, and there are some days when 3:30 rolls around, and I know it's time to start my workout, and I'm not excited about it. I just don't feel excited to do my workout. I still want to do it. And some days I will not do my workout. Some days if I am just physically not feeling up to it, I will skip the workout. If my joints hurt, if I overdid it a couple days before then, or if I'm just physically my joints will hurt and I just know that I'm at a higher risk of injury, then I'll skip the workout and I'll do it the next day. I'll do something else instead. But if it's just a day where I'm feeling a little bit lower in energy and motivation is lower, but I know that I still do my workout, then I will start by just doing slightly more than I feel like doing. So instead of going straight into my heavy squat workout or heavy deadlift workout, I'll do a lot of easy warm up to get there. I'll do some yoga. I'll do some kind of light to medium intensity muscle activation work like single leg bridges or planks, or doing a high lunge or doing some basic balancing exercises. Just something to ease me into the activity instead of jumping from straight to I don't want to do anything to whoa, I'm doing something at intensity level 8 out of 10. If I can ease into that by doing just slightly more than I feel like doing, that makes it a lot more palatable to me. I actually don't take caffeine or pre-workout before my workouts. I did that in college for a couple of years, and I really didn't like that I was dependent on caffeine in order to be able to do a workout. It took me a really long time to kind of get past that addiction, so to speak. I still have coffee in the mornings. Um, I'm pretty sure I would die if I didn't. But I don't do caffeine before a workout anymore because I just don't want to be dependent on it for doing a workout. I also like sleeping at night, so if I were to take a pre-workout at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, I would not sleep, and that wouldn't be good. So, anyways, thought I'd mention that. One other thing that you can do is just by easing into something. This is a really easy way to do it that works for all fitness levels, is to go for a walk. So instead of doing your workout, go for a walk initially, get your energy level up, and you can go for that walk at whatever pace you feel like doing. But, as the walk progresses, maybe you can increase the intensity of the walk. But that's a really, really easy way to ease into something. I've also gotten into a habit of going for a walk in the morning. I've been waking up a little earlier than I usually do. And rather than making a bunch of noise in the kitchen and waking up my wife, I try to slowly and quietly slip out the door and go for a walk. And that's something that I can do literally after I roll out of bed. So it's something that anybody can do regardless of high or low motivation levels. Another strategy is to take it one step at a time. So if you look at if you're let's use the example here as the workout, right? So if I'm looking at my workout as a whole and I'm sitting there and I don't feel much motivation, looking at that workout as a whole is going to be kind of overwhelming. I'm looking at it thinking, oh wow, I don't know if I have enough energy or motivation to do this entire workout. So instead of looking at the entire task, I'll break it down into one thing? What is the next one thing that I need to do to do this task? So if you break things down into a sub task instead of looking at it as an entire whole, it makes it a lot easier. So instead of looking at, my whole workout with all of my exercises and sets and reps, if I can start looking at it by, oh, okay, my first exercise is squat. So what do I need to do for squat? Well, I need to do a little warm up. Okay, let's get my glutes working. Okay, so I'm just going to start with a bridge. So I'll just start by doing a bridge. So instead of looking at, let me do all this stuff, I got to do squats, I got to do bench press, I got to do all this stuff. I just look at, I need to do a bridge right now to start warming up. So if you can break things down into subtasks and focus on one thing at a time, rather than getting overwhelmed by the task as a whole, that can help out a lot with motivation, just reframing it. And then the third strategy I'll give you here is just to ask yourself, if you are not feeling motivated right now, just to kind of just check in with yourself and say, what do I need right now? What is bothering me? What is making it hard for me to focus or to do what I need to do right now? So sometimes that could mean that you need to journal about something that's bothering you. Maybe it means you need to, resolve whatever conflict is going on in a relationship. It's for me in these situations, it's just being intentional about feeling what I'm feeling, experiencing that, and trying to move through whatever is holding me back the most, rather than avoiding it, going through it. So that is something that I found to be really helpful for me. I think it's something that'll be helpful for most people based on general wisdom. So if you are lacking motivation, figure out what is the biggest suck of your energy that's happening in that moment and do something about it. So, all right, guys, I hope this was helpful. Again, motivation, it is really good to understand how motivation works, to be able to plan for it, to be able to actually not plan for it, but be able to use other strategies to work around when motivation is high or low, and also to be able to, take specific actions to build yourself up to the motivation level that is required for what you need to do. And I think also understanding that motivation isn't going to be high, that we all have lots of stuff going on and we need to be a little kinder to ourselves. I think those are also really important pieces of information that we should consider when thinking about motivation. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this solo episode. Come back next Thursday for the new episode. That'll be an interview. And then 2 weeks after that will be another solo episode. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please consider leaving a review on Apple Podcast or on Spotify. I'd really appreciate the review. If you can write something nice for me, that would be cool too. We just got over 100 reviews on Apple Podcast. I think we're about at 50 at Spotify. So any review would be greatly appreciated. And then if you guys haven't started with Manful Yoga, we do have a free 7-day challenge. You can learn more and sign up for that at manfulyoga.com/7DC. There's no credit card required for that. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on the next episode. If you like that episode, check out this other one right here. I think you're really going to enjoy it. If you haven't subscribed, click this subscribe button over here, and you can listen to the full episodes on any major podcasting platform. Full details below in the description.